Define Judaism. Cool. Are we a religion, an ethnicity, nation? You may notice that Judaism tends to raise more questions and challenges than it does answers and often reassurances. We have a history of identifying Judaism, the Jewish people, and individual Jews by what they're not rather than by what they are. This might be because nobody can really come to a consensus on what exactly we are or what we ought to be. There's an old joke of a Jewish man stranded alone on a deserted island. When he's finally saved, his rescuers find 3 buildings, his home and 2 synagogues. But why did you build 2 synagogues, they ask. Well, this is the synagogue I go to. That's the one I never step foot in. This story, along with your response to it, asserts that as Jews, we are certainly not monolithic. And yet, we still identify with one meaningfully Jewish collective identity. Funnily enough, we have a history of reclaiming and adopting the names and descriptors that come from outsiders, that other people give us. We call ourselves B'nai Yisrael, the children of Israel. But the first person to use that moniker was Pharaoh in Parashat Shemot. Similarly, we call ourselves people of the book, a name we adopted from the Quranic term Ahl al-Kitab. And why? Because we are indeed a people who have centered our communal lives and collective identities around books. Whether it was Ezra bringing the first compiled edition of the Hebrew Bible to Israel from Persia, or the early rabbis poring over that same precious text and writing the Mishnah and the Talmud and the Midrash and all of the things to follow, or the luminaries of the Middle Ages who studied and wrote profound philosophy, poetry, and prayer, or the Yiddish writers like Shalom Aleichem who told stories of the shtetl, or the Israeli giants in Rachel the poet, Amos Oz, Edgar Keret. I could keep going, but that would be yet another book to add to the Jewish library, probably in multiple volumes. So yes, we are a people deeply committed to learning and to reading and to books. And so perhaps this is why for us Jews, we are so affected by the images and videos coming out of classrooms in Florida this week, showing empty or covered bookshelves. In Manatee County, Florida, school district officials directed teachers to remove or cover all classroom libraries until their materials can be reviewed and approved. Teachers, already overworked and undervalued, have rushed to follow the directive. But according to the Washington Post, teachers in Florida are under legal threats of fines reaching $5,000 and up to 5 years of jail time for exposing students to unapproved content. And so we have videos of empty bookshelves, images of bookcases covered with butcher paper, and ever-growing teacher burnout and shortages. This is not just happening in Florida. In 2022, across 22 school districts, Texas banned over 800 books, the majority of which were written by or included narratives of people of color and the LGBTQ+ community, though titles also included 2 of the greatest known pieces of Holocaust literature, Maus and The Diary of Anne Frank. Just last week, a teacher in Pennsylvania was told that their poster of Elie Wiesel violated a school policy barring educators from activist activities. The arguments made in promoting these bans revolve around the idea of protecting children from indoctrination. We don't need to dwell on the irony of government's claims against child indoctrination while banning Holocaust literature and labeling one of the most famous and influential survivors as inappropriate for a public school setting. It's an absurd argument, one that should set off alarm bells in every Jewish heart. As the 19th century Jewish poet Heinrich Heine wrote, "Where they burn books, they will, in the end, burn human beings too." Limiting access to information is an affront to the values we hold as the people of the book. We uphold freedom of inquiry. We value the greatest possible breadth of thought. And more than anything, we lift up our children. We cultivate curiosity, we encourage exploration, we support our children as they struggle to define themselves in relation to the world around them. We always aim to protect them, doing so through knowledge, never through ignorance, knowing that hiding information does nothing but harm. Instead of holding children back, censoring narratives, and limiting information that may challenge them, we lift them up. We support them. We stand by their side as they freely ask and explore. In what is one of the funnier moments in the Talmud, Rabbi Akiva follows his teacher, Rabbi Yehoshua, into the bathroom and observes his behavior. Akiva's student, Ben Azai, asks, "Hey, aren't you kind of invading his personal space, like just a little bit?" But Akiva responds, "Torah hi v'lilmod ani tzarich." This is Torah, and I must learn. In a following similar yet spicier story, Rav Kahana hides under his teacher's bed to learn about his bedroom behavior. When Kahana is caught, he says, like Akiva, "This is Torah, and I must learn." As an aside, this entire page of Talmud, Tractate Berachot, Daf 62a, is objectively hysterical, mostly talking about how to protect yourself from bathroom demons. In the context of Jewish learning, we do not shy away from that which is impolite, improper, or uncomfortable. Indeed, Torah hi v'lilmod ani tzarich. It is Torah, and I must learn. Nor do we avoid learning from disparate sources. In Pirkei Avot, Ben Zoma teaches, "Who is wise? One who learns from everyone." In this week's Torah portion, we find that Yitro, for whom the portion is named, who is not only an Israelite, but is in fact the high priest of Midian, is the visionary behind the entire Israelite judicial system. We do not limit ourselves when it comes to source or scope of information. It is all Torah, and we must learn.